For those of you on the panel who are not intimately familiar with Reading Rainbow, as intimately familiar as perhaps your average 8-year-old in this country, allow me to briefly tell you a little bit about who we are and what it is we do. Reading Rainbow is a television series that is dedicated to encouraging reading among children, and we do this by presenting books as gateways, if you will, to the fantastic worlds of knowledge and adventure. We take a half an hour of television every day and steer children back towards literature. It's a pretty cool idea. Our goal at Reading Rainbow is to, in this world that is becoming increasingly more dependent on the visual image, increasingly more addicted to television, our goal is to create generations of literate human beings who are passionate about the written word. That's our agenda. And I think we're pretty good at achieving our intended outcome. I think we're fairly good at what we do. There are many supporters who would agree with that. Among them, teachers. Teachers love Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow, as a matter of fact, is the most used television program in our schools nationwide for elementary grade school teachers, grades 3 and 4. It's a tremendous educational resource. Now, we have, in the 12 years we've been producing Reading Rainbow, received a lot of awards and honors. We have 8 Emmys, including Outstanding Children's Television Series. We've received a Peabody Award for Distinguished Effort in Television. We've received the coveted Prix Jeunesse, which is an international award for the most outstanding entry of children's television worldwide. We've even received an Action for Children's TV Award, and I believe that Peggy Charon and her exacting standards are no strangers to this committee. But of all the awards and accolades that Reading Rainbow has received, it's the endorsement of parents and teachers and the children who watch the show that are most important to us. And I'd like to share with you some of their thoughts and feelings about the show. But first, let me share this with you. The last time I was here in Washington, D.C. was 2 years ago. And I was here for a celebration. It was the 10th anniversary of the show, and we staged an event in conjunction with the Center for the Book at the Library of Congress. And we gathered together from different parts of the city school children. We busted them in, and we had present with us on that day many dignitaries, luminaries really, from inside the Beltway, who had come to share excerpts of some of their favorite stories with the kids. We had with us on that day Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who shared a story. Attorney General Janet Reno was there, as were several of your distinguished colleagues. Senator Paul Simon was there, as was Congressman Carol Moseley Brown. The Secretary of Education, Riley, was there and shared a story. And what was remarkable about that day, to me, is that not only did these very visible, highly successful people take time out of their busy schedules to come and read stories to these kids, which is remarkably important, but they were also there to try and communicate to these children the importance that reading had held for them in their own lives. They were there in part to try and ignite some sort of spark and perhaps fan the flame in the heart or in the mind or in the soul of these children. It was a remarkable thing to be a part of. It was a good day, in my opinion, that day for literature. And it was a good day for Washington, D.C., I think. I am very disturbed, Mr. Chairman, and depressed and more than a little disappointed to have to be here today on such an occasion that is so considerably less celebratory in nature. I left my home and my family in California yesterday afternoon, including my 6-month-old daughter, who I am loath to be separated from at this point, to come here today and speak to you on an issue that is in my mind and should be in the minds of everybody else what I consider to be a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. The question is, should public television continue to receive federal funding? Well, let me think about it. Should public television continue to receive federal funding? When I ask the question, when I hear it in my mind, it sounds ludicrous. It's almost silly to even ask the question. But silly or not, I've come a long way, so I will do my best to provide support for the argument that public funding should continue. But let me start by saying this. I truly believe, Mr. Chairman, that television is the most powerful tool we possess in this civilization for addressing social growth and change. Let me say that one more time. Television is the most powerful tool we possess for addressing social growth and change. Bar none, this venerable institution of Congress included. Television is all-powerful because it is all-pervasive. There is no place one can go on this planet, practically, where television is not. Now, there is a phenomenon that I refer to as television at its best. And it happens when television is used to its fullest potential as a medium. What I mean by television at its best is that TV is not just entertaining, that it's educational, it's enlightening, it is uplifting, it is ennobling of the human spirit in some way. It's television at its best. It is and can be a unifying force for the human family as we march towards self-discovery and self-awareness. Now, what sets public television apart from all the rest of television that's out there, and there's a lot of TV that falls not into the category of which I'm speaking, but public television, in my view, does, and this is the crux of why I've come to talk to you today. Public television has no commercials on it. Now, I make my living in both commercial and public TVs, and don't get me wrong, commercial television has been very, very good to me. But make no mistake about it, commercial television cannot, does not, and will not do what public TV does, especially and specifically where our children are concerned. Public television doesn't try and sell our kids anything. Public television is the only place in this expanding information superhighway, this multi-channel universe, where we can be assured as parents that our children can be exposed to their numbers and to their ABCs without someone trying to sell something to them. It's the only place where parents can rest assured that our children can go and discover the joys of reading and the magic of science and its important application in our everyday lives, where they can be introduced to values like kindness and truthfulness and the importance of respect for all life and all living things, as Fred Rogers so eloquently does every day on PBS. You see, the only thing we're selling on PBS to our children, Mr. Chairman, is inspiration. And if we lose this very valuable institution, it would be a great shame. And I'll wrap it up very, very quickly by saying you have been charged here, you and your colleagues, with a very awesome task. That is to say, you have been sent here by the public to keep the public trust. And it would be a shame if we made a decision here that was deemed capricious in nature or even silly. Let's not make a decision that would come back to haunt us. I thank you for your time and your attention, and I'll go back to California now and hang out with my 6-month-old daughter and hope like hell, Mr. Chairman, that in a year or two when she's ready for Sesame Street, that Sesame Street is there for her in this commercial-free sanctuary.